You think following the rules keeps you safe in the immigration process, right? Well, imagine this. You've spent years building your life in America, filing forms, paying fees, doing everything correctly. Then one letter arrives from USCIS, and within weeks, your future is suddenly under review, not because you lied, but because the system is watching more closely than ever before. USCIS isn't just processing cases anymore, it's investigating them. And today, even honest mistakes can look like fraud. Let's break down the new USCIS fraud detection era, the unexpected traps immigrants are falling into, and how to protect yourself before it's too late. The new USCIS enforcement era. For years, USCIS was primarily an administrative agency collecting forms, reviewing applications, and granting benefits. But that era is shifting. Today, fraud detection is not a department, it's a mission. Officers are trained to assume deception first and trust second. This change isn't only targeting people who knowingly lie. It's catching hardworking families, spouses, and employees who never imagined they would face suspicion. The agency now uses digital monitoring tools, advanced background checks, and interagency data sharing to review every detail of a case. Something that used to be overlooked, small inconsistencies, outdated information, confusing timelines, now becomes evidence of possible misrepresentation. This means approvals are taking longer. Interviews feel more like interrogations. And the margin for error has disappeared. Financial and employment discrepancies. Most people think immigration fraud only involves fake marriages or false identities. But one of the fastest-growing red flags today? Financial inconsistency. USCIS compares tax filings, employer records, pay history, bank statements, and even state earnings databases. If your income numbers don't line up across documents, even unintentionally, officers assume you're hiding unauthorized work, inflated wages, or financial support that doesn't match your claims. Work authorization cases are getting extra scrutiny. If someone posts about a new job before receiving a work permit or uses business portals, gig apps, or online invoicing while still waiting for EAD approval, USCIS views that as unauthorized employment evidence. And here's the part many applicants miss. USCIS checks employment history against LinkedIn, government payroll systems, and tax records. If you say you're unemployed but tax returns show earnings, or your LinkedIn says you currently work for a company not listed in your petition, your case may be flagged instantly. Before filing anything, reconcile your tax history, employment records, and public profiles. Perfect consistency is no longer optional, it's survival. Interview behavior and credibility signals. Years ago, immigration interviews were about verifying paperwork and making sure relationships were genuine. Today, they have evolved into psychological assessments. Officers are trained to read hesitation, nervousness, conflicting explanations, and lack of detail as indicators of potential misrepresentation. Even when your case is honest, unclear timelines or uncertain answers can hurt you. Couples not remembering key dates, employees unsure about job titles or duties, or applicants unable to clearly explain their immigration history appear evasive, even when it's just nerves. This is why preparation matters more than ever. Review your timeline. Practice answering questions directly. Be honest, but also be precise. USCIS doesn't just listen to your story, they measure your confidence in telling it. Cross-checking every data point. Immigration used to be a form-based system. Today, it's a data verification system. USCIS now cross-checks information with CBP travel records, IRS tax databases, FBI background systems, DMV and state databases, SEVIS and employment systems, social media platforms, credit history and utility records in some cases. If your addresses don't match across multiple years. If your travel history has unexplained gaps. If your bank statements show activity inconsistent with your status. USCIS does not assume error, they assume intent. And remember, once a discrepancy is flagged, it never disappears. It becomes part of your permanent immigration file. Private conversations, public consequences. There is a growing belief among applicants, if my profile is private, I'm safe. That is no longer true. Screenshots, tags, mentions, location logs, and public links still reveal activity. USCIS also receives data through federal partners, and no platform guarantees immunity from subpoenas. What you say online, even indirectly, can influence how your credibility is evaluated. Personal disagreements, political arguments, or disputes with employers can unexpectedly surface. Even humor can be misinterpreted. If you are pursuing an immigration benefit, develop one habit. Before posting, ask yourself, could this be misunderstood by someone reviewing my application? In today's immigration climate, perception has consequences. Why innocent people are getting caught. Here's the hard truth. Most people flagged today did not begin with dishonesty. They began with fear or confusion. They forgot a date. They filled a form quickly. They relied on advice from a friend. They assumed something didn't matter. They corrected information later instead of upfront. The immigration system doesn't operate on intention, it operates on evidence. And evidence doesn't explain mistakes, it records them. The applicants who suffer the most are the ones who panic and try to fix information after filing. Remember, correcting a detail later looks like hiding it earlier. If you're unsure, pause and consult a licensed professional. The cost of a mistake is far greater than the cost of asking the right person for advice. One major shift many applicants haven't noticed yet is the rise of pattern-based fraud detection. USCIS now uses data analysis to flag applicants who resemble past fraudulent cases, even if they personally did nothing wrong. For example, applying from a region known for document fraud, having a marriage timeline that resembles previous fake cases, or even filing multiple updates in a short period can trigger additional scrutiny. In other words, the system no longer waits for proof, it searches for similarities. This means legitimate families and workers must be even more thorough, because the standard isn't just honesty anymore, it's demonstrating honesty through evidence and consistency. Final words. USCIS isn't just approving immigrants anymore. It is evaluating them, investigating them, and in many ways, redefining the immigration journey in America. Protect yourself by documenting your truth, staying consistent, and never being afraid to disclose the full story. Because in this new era, transparency isn't just a virtue, it's your defense. If you found this information helpful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with others who need to stay informed.
Your support helps us bring more valuable updates on U.S. immigration. Stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.